I am super excited to be talking to you guys today about different locate classifications that TradeZero offers. We are launching our new single-use locates product, which allows people to source locates on a much more cost-effective basis for Reg Show securities. I can't wait to dive in and tell you guys the differences and hopefully provide a little bit of education along the way. When we're talking about the ability for folks to short sell securities, there are a few different intricacies that go on behind the scenes that allow us as a broker-dealer to facilitate those. So every day, our clearing firms will give us a list of what's called easy to borrow. These are generally the stocks that are in ample supply, your Apples, your Microsofts, the larger cap names that have lots of shares issued and outstanding that people are holding in ample supply as long positions in their brokerage accounts. Not just people, it could be funds, it could be mutual funds, all kinds of holders of securities. So when those are in ample supply, those are called easy to borrow. So for those stocks that are easy to borrow, people can just short them just like they would buy a stock going long. There's no other action that needs to take place. However, stocks that are not on the easy to borrow list or not easy to borrow, those require additional treatment. I liken it to a permission slip. So if you want to short a stock that's not easy to borrow, you need to get a permission slip to allow you to do that. When we talk about these permission slips, there are three categories that TradeZero offers. Locate, which for non-threshold securities, that gives you the ability to short shares that are not easy to borrow. And you can short cover as many times as you'd like. You have single-use locates, which is for threshold securities. If you know you want to short it once or twice, it may make more sense to get a single-use locate once or twice from a pricing perspective. And the third category is the pre-borrow, where if you know that you want to day trade the shares, you can bring in a pre-borrow and allowing for multiple short covers. In addition, if you know that you're going to hold the shares short overnight, when we've pre-borrowed the shares, we actually have them in-house. So the risk of getting bought in on settlement has been greatly reduced. Different than taking a locate overnight. We have reasonable basis to believe that we can get those shares from someone else, but it's not a guarantee. So the pre-borrow gives you a lot more comfort with respect to not having the annoying conversation in the morning with your broker saying, hey, we need to buy your shares in this morning before the open because we were unable to get a borrow on the shares. So those are the three categories. On the locate side, we, as a broker-dealer, identify securities from some external or internal source where there is a reasonable basis for us to believe that on settlement, T+1 now, if someone holds the shares short overnight, that we will be able to get the shares delivered to cover the short. Because at the end of the day, a short is essentially someone loaning you their shares for you to then sell, and then when you're ready to cover it, you buy it back, and then it goes back to the person who loaned it to you. So for stocks that are not easy to borrow, on a locate side, we have to identify shares that we believe on a reasonable basis can be delivered on settlement. When thinking about shorting shares, there is a certain category of stocks that are called Reg Show, threshold securities. So these are securities that each of the listing exchanges like NYSE, NASDAQ, SIBO, all put out on a daily basis a list of symbols that consist of symbols that have had 5 consecutive days of being failed to deliver. They go on to this list, and they're in sort of a separate category than your easy to borrow, definitely than your easy to borrows, and then those non-easy to borrow shares. It's an additional classification called Reg Show securities. Now, these are also likened to hard to borrow securities because they're on this fail to deliver list. Now, when we talk about a locate, you can actually use a locate to get into non-easy to borrow as well as threshold securities. The difference is, if a symbol is on the threshold list, when you bring in a locate, you can only use that for one opening short sale transaction and a cover. If you want to short those same shares again, you need to go out and get another locate. Whereas stocks that are not easy to borrow, as well as not on the threshold list, when you get a locate, you can short cover as many times as you're able, or as you would like, on those same located shares that you got through a platform. So that's the real difference between reg shows and non-reg shows symbols as it relates to shorting. Now, there's another category that we at TradeZero offer, which is called the pre-borrow. So with a pre-borrow, we have traditionally offered those for threshold securities. The reason is, while pre-borrows are generally more expensive than locates, with a pre-borrowed share on a threshold security, you can short cover. You can reapply the pre-borrowed shares as many times as you'd like intraday on multiple short and covers. As it relates to TradeZero specifically and our patented locates technology, users have the ability to what we call mark for credit any locate that they no longer need, the non-easy to borrows, any single-use locate that hasn't been used to get into a short position, and any pre-borrow that they no longer need. When someone marks shares for credit, it puts them in a queue to have those shares reapplied to the next TradeZero customer that wants to short those shares. And when the next customer comes in and wants to get that permission slip from TradeZero, we will actually reapply shares from one customer through us to the next customer, giving additional availability, because some of these things are very hard to source. So it gives us another source of supply and availability. And the selling party, the person who's credited the locate, recoups a portion of the locate fee that they've paid to get into the thing initially. So that is kind of the differentiation between the three different categories that we offer, and tying in a little bit of the nuance and advantage, the edge, if you will, of sourcing short liquidity through TradeZero using our patented locate technology. We are really excited to be releasing the single-use locate ability onto our locator platform. This gives our traders a significant advantage over the current offering. Number one, locates generally on reg show securities are in much more ample supply than a pre-borrow. Number two, they're a lot less expensive. If anybody has shorted a threshold security using a pre-borrow, they know that while they can reapply the pre-borrow to multiple short covers throughout the day, the sourcing of the initial pre-borrow could be more expensive than a locate. Number three is, if for whatever reason you do source a single-use locate and you don't wind up using it, you do have the facility to market for credit and have that single-use locate applied to the next TradeZero customer that would like to short it. Finally, the ability for folks to credit back single-use locates that they no longer need creates another avenue of supply for other customers that may be looking to source those shares for some of those stocks that are a lot more difficult to find. We feel that this is going to give traders an edge, and if you've had a TradeZero account in the past or you've never tried us, we would encourage you to give us a shot, because the single-use locatability is going to greatly reduce pricing, especially on those reg show securities. So I would highly encourage you to take a look if you haven't already.